Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we'll be looking at the brand new P series puzzles, starting with the P1 workbook. So first we'll see the picture Sudoku puzzle and then the 4 winds puzzle. So for picture Sudoku, the rules are that each row and column and each block outlined in bold in these 4 quadrants must contain each of the shapes square, circle, triangle, and heart. Okay, so those are the rules. Let's look at example 32. So again, we have square, circle, triangle, and heart that we have to draw. And here I want to start in the top left block because it already has 3 out of the 4 shapes filled in, right? And each block has to have all 4 shapes. So the only missing shape in this block is the circle. We can draw that there. Now we can just look at the columns 1 and 2 and find out what's missing. So column 1 is missing the triangle, column 2 is missing the heart. Okay, now the last row here is missing the square. This third row here is missing the triangle. This third column now is missing the heart. And we just have to look at the first and second rows to find out that they're missing the square and the triangle. And there we go. Each row, column, and block contains each of the 4 shapes. Now let's look at puzzle 40. Now here I want to start in the upper right corner because it has 2 out of the 4 cells filled in, but we also have this block and this block here that we can reference. Okay, they both kind of intersect with this upper right block. Okay, so with that in mind, let's take a look. This upper right block is missing the triangle and the circle. Now, we can't place the circle in this cell because there already exists a circle in this last column. So the circle must be placed here and the triangle here. Okay, now we can fill in the last column. It's missing a square, as well as the third column, which is missing a heart. Now I want to look at this upper left block. It's missing the circle and the triangle. Well, there already exists a circle in the upper row, so we must place the circle here and the triangle here. Okay, if we look at this row now, we see that it's missing the circle and the triangle once again. But since we just placed the circle in the second column, the circle must go here and the triangle here. Now we just have to fill in the last columns with the missing shapes, which is the square and the heart. And there we go, that's the puzzle. So these are the solutions. Let's look at the next puzzle now. So this is the 4 winds puzzle. The rules are that we have to draw horizontal and or vertical arrows leaving each number. The arrow must be straight and cannot bend. Okay. Number 2, each cell must only contain 1 arrow. Arrows cannot pass through cells containing numbers. Number 3, the numbers represent the total number of cells that the arrows coming from the numbered cell occupy. And number 4, after drawing all arrows, there cannot be any empty cells. This example on the right shows all of these rules, right? Rule number 1, there are horizontal and vertical arrows extending from numbers outwards. Okay, so they're leaving each number. Also, each cell only contains 1 arrow, right? We'll never have multiple arrows in a single cell, and all cells are filled. So with that in mind, let's look at example 9. Now, here we have to draw arrows according to the numbers 1, 2, and 3. Well, let's start with the number 3, since it's the largest number and it will take up the most space with its arrows. So we can draw 1 arrow going upwards, just like that. That's 1. Then we can draw a longer arrow going to the right. So there's 1, 2, and 3 cells that these arrows occupy, all coming out of the 3. So the 3 is satisfied. Okay, we can check that. Now we could look at the number 1. We just extend rightwards just by 1 cell. Now this one's satisfied. Now for the number 2, we can extend upwards by 1 cell and to the left by 1 cell, which sum to 2 cells. Okay, so that's the puzzle. Let's look at example 31. Here we have a much larger puzzle, but again, let's start with the highest number, number 5, right? Since it will take up the most space. Here we can extend to the right, 1, 2, 3, and 4 cells, okay? Now we can extend downwards 1 cell, and we know we have to do this because we cannot move diagonally, right? So this is the only way the number 5 will be satisfied, and there we go. Now what we could do is look at the number 4, but for now I actually want to start with this number 3 up here, okay? Now for this number 3, it's quite easy to find out where its arrows will go. Right, it must go to the left 3 cells. It has no other option. Right, so then this one becomes satisfied. Now, because we've done that, we can move on to the number 4 and find out how its arrows should be drawn. Now, we could draw 1 arrow going downwards and then 3 arrows going to the right. Right, that will make out 4. However, if we do that, this number 3 will never be satisfied. It only has room for an arrow with a length of 2 going downward, and we can't draw any more arrows for it. So we know for that reason, this is incorrect. We can't extend all the way up there. We have to extend downwards 2 cells and then to the right 2 cells, okay? So 2 plus 2, that would equal 4, so that was satisfied. Now for this number 3, we can draw 1 arrow to the left and 2 arrows going downwards, and that would make 3. And finally, for these 2, we just have to draw arrows going to the right that are 2 cells long. And there we go. So these are the solutions. I hope that helped. I will see you soon in the next episode.